He was the second known American killed while fighting for ISIS in Syria, and he was from right here in Minnesota.
But Fox 9 has learned his employment history while he lived here is raising a few eyebrows. Tom Lydon's here with the exclusive. Tom, downright scary.
Yeah, guys, it may be the last place you would want a terrorist to work, the airport. Before he died fighting for ISIS, Abdurrahman Muhammad may have cleaned your plane at Twin Cities International. It's the kind of employment history that certainly would have stuck out on his terror resume. When he was killed in Syria fighting for ISIS, Abdurrahman Muhammad left behind a trail of selfies and a trail of mystery. Who recruited him to join the terror group? And how did he support himself and 9 children? Multiple sources tell Fox 9 that for a time, he worked at Twin Cities International cleaning planes. A job that gave him security clearance, access to the tarmac, and for periods of time, unfettered access to the planes as well. 2 former employees confirm his employment with DGS, Delta Global Services, a wholly owned subsidiary of Delta Airlines. Earlier this year, the cleaning contract was taken over by another company, AirServe. It's the Metropolitan Airports Commission that issues the security clearance to get on the runway tarmac. On Friday, a spokesperson said they can't comment on any kind of FBI investigation. Today, a MAC spokesperson told me they are checking with the Department of Homeland Security to see if they can say anything about Abdurrahman Muhammad's security clearance here at the airport. It's unknown how long Abdurrahman Muhammad worked at DGS or when exactly he left the Twin Cities to fight with ISIS. He was killed in the same battle as Douglas McCain, who is also from Minnesota. As many as 15 men and 1 woman are believed to have left the Twin Cities to fight for ISIS, the terror group making no secret of the propaganda value it gets from foreign fighters, who figure prominently in its social media accounts. Last month, ISIS even posted pictures of its flag in front of the White House and Chicago's Old Republic building, along with this haunting statement: "We are in your state. We are in your cities. We are in your streets." The question for investigators now is whether they're working at our airports as well. And it's important to point out that Abdurrahman Muhammad didn't have any criminal history we could find, nothing that would appear to keep him from getting a job at the airport, although we hear he may have had aliases. There are different levels of security clearance at the airport, and we don't know exactly what level he had. We contacted Delta and Delta Global Services directly last week and again today, and they are checking with their Human Resources Department to see what information, if any, they can release. Guys, back to you.
We now know not 1 but 2 men from Minnesota died while fighting with the Islamic militant group ISIS in Syria.
And tonight, Fox 9's Maury Glover has been following this developing story. And Maury, the stories of these 2 men highlighting an even bigger issue, right?
Members of the local Somali community are shocked to hear about another casualty from Minnesota in Syria. Many are asking how he ended up fighting in a religious war halfway around the world.
Those who knew him describe Abdurrahman Muhammad as outgoing and gregarious, a man involved in local politics in the Somali community. But he was also angry and frustrated, trying to support 9 children with several different women without a job. And that may have led him to seek a better life away from the Twin Cities where he grew up.
So he had so many challenges, lack of good opportunities in life. He had lost hope. And indeed, I think that those are things that have driven him to be who he is.
He's one of more than a dozen Minnesotans who left the country to fight for ISIS in Syria, and the second Minnesotan, along with Douglas McCain, to be killed there. There hasn't been much activity on his Facebook page since late last year, but a woman claiming to be his sister posted a plea saying, "If you still live, please let us know. I don't know what to say. I'm always going to love you, no matter what."
I talked to some people close to him, and still the circumstances surrounding his death is, as we speak, developing right now. But it's a tragic news.
Somali community organizer Omar Jamal says Muhammad's death brings back painful memories of the young men who disappeared from Minnesota and turned up fighting for Al-Shabaab in Somalia a few years back.
This is the real Disneyland.
He says ISIS appears to be using the same playbook, recruiting vulnerable young people through videos and social media. But so far, community leaders haven't come up with a long-term strategy to compete.
You have the combination of vulnerable kids susceptible to crazy ideas, disillusionment, giving up hope, achieving an American dream, What's the alternative, you know, to fight against these people? We have to come together and do something about this.
And unfortunately, that pipeline from Minnesota to Siiriya doesn't appear to be closed just yet. Another community organizer told me he's working with the parents of a young woman who left for Siiriya just last